This is the great American philosopher of the 21st century. And that philosopher, of course, is Yogi Berra. And he said predictions are hard to make, especially about the future. So what are the predictions? That's just a caveat. Don't take it too seriously. But I think you'll agree with these predictions. At least the first one. The price of oil will be higher in the coming decades. Just by supply and demand, the price will be higher. We have to go to more expensive forms of oil. I mean, we have this recent tragedy of the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. What people don't realize is most of the oil reserves of the multinational companies are now offshore. The ExxonMobils, BPs, Oil Nations, Chevrons. And so this is going to be an issue. Another issue. We will live in a carbon-constrained world. The reason I say that is that scientists and increasingly the general public is becoming more aware of more and more compelling information that tells us there are significant risks of climate change. And because of that, there is going to be a race to become, all countries want to become less dependent on imported oil. It's very expensive. And they will also develop technologies that will poise them to be not only consumers but the producers of those technologies that can give us clean energy. And so there will be a clean energy race. So how are we doing? Well, this is one graph which shows the clean energy race. This is the market share of U.S. photovoltaics. It is the black line. And in the mid-1990s, we had 45% of the market share of silicon photovoltaics. But right now, we have about 5 or 6%. You see that's the U.S. in green, Japan in red, Europe in yellow, and the rest of the world is in blue. But most of the rest of the world is in China. How are we doing in other technologies? Well, we are no longer leaders in automobile technology, and in particular in fuel-efficient technologies. If you buy a hybrid vehicle, the advanced battery in that car, there's a 98% chance that battery will have been made in Asia. Electricity transmission and distribution. The United States had the first electricity transmission system in the world. That was Edison. And there was a big competition between Edison and Westinghouse and Tesla. But we were the leaders in that technology, just as we were the leaders for more than half a century in automobile, almost a full century in automobile technology. No longer leaders there. Europe took that lead several decades ago. Now China wants to take it from Europe. We had the first nuclear reactors in the world. But the major manufacturers of nuclear reactors are now in France, Japan, and Korea. So we're not doing so well. Here's another few myths that I'm going to dispel. One of the myths is that China plans to compete through cheap labor. Yes, a lot of their manufacturing is through inexpensive labor, but they're also want to compete at the highest tech, most roboticized labor. The great solar factory that they have is a highly automated factory in China. You can assemble high-tech stuff in China, and they're planning, one business plan is to then ship the parts over to the United States where they're assembled by labor. America doesn't need to make stuff anymore. This is something that you've heard, and it's something I soundly reject. To say that America's wealth will be mostly in the service economy, like financial services, and I think we need to go back from that point of view. This is a graph of China's manufacturing, but not its manufacturing in general, but high technology manufacturing. So by that I mean, what's high-tech manufacturing? Well, it's pharmaceuticals, it's electronics, it's test equipment, it's airplanes, and things like that. China is now leading the world in high-tech manufacturing. They just passed the United States to do it. Also very important. The leaders in China have recognized that if China continues on its current emission path, in fact, they told me one-on-one, the carbon emissions in China are totally unsustainable, that climate change, if China and the rest of the world does not alter its path and its carbon the impact of climate change in China would be devastating. And so they said, we're going to do something about it. We're going to diversify our energy supply. We're going to build cleaner energy sources. We're going to build nuclear. We're going to close down the least efficient of our coal plants and build very efficient coal plants. And in fact, they've entered an agreement with the United States to look at carbon capture and sequestration technologies. To give you an example, their wind target by 2020 is 100 gigawatts of wind. U.S. is about 20 to 25 gigawatts of wind. So they're essentially starting from a dead start in the next 10 years to get to that. The State Grid is a publicly owned company that is in electricity generation and distribution. A single company is going to spend $88 billion by 2020 in electricity transmission, and they're set aside, they're targeting in the next coming decades something like the level of $500 billion in transmission distribution to bring renewables, hydro, wind, and solar across China and also as a market. So these are serious investments. Now, the United States has made some serious investments in the clean energy economy through the Recovery Act, $80 billion. And economists now generally agree that it has actually had an effect. There's 2 to 2.4 billion jobs that have been saved or created. This is a graph of the GDP in the United States, and so it is finally in the last quarter, the last 4 months, gone into positive. The unemployment is still seriously lagging behind. We still have unacceptably high unemployment, and we have to be determined. We must be determined in order to decrease that unemployment. So that this remains a very, very big deal to us as an administration. Part of getting America on a cleaner energy future is to encourage energy efficiency for several reasons. First, it creates jobs. Secondly, if you save money and spend less on utility bills, that cash that is in your pocket can then be recycled in local communities and goes immediately back into the economy. We are looking for mechanisms that will, since energy savings saves money, we're looking for mechanisms that are essentially self-financed. We can overcome initial investment hurdles, for example, or the inertia or the lack of information. What we can do is we can give people the capital of $5,000, $10,000, make an investment. They save money on utility bills, and let's say the interest they have to pay for that loan money or whatever form would be less than the money they save on their energy bill. So that's one of the things we do. There's a new Home Star program that the group is very supportive of, to give rebates directly to homeowners or to the contractors they hire. These are the things that create jobs and save energy. We are also open to all ideas on how to make the energy savings, which also should be translated, must be translated directly into money savings, a social norm within the U.S. The Recovery Act is doing other things. There are 30% tax rates on renewables whenever possible. There are 30% tax rates for major clean energy manufacturing projects, especially want to call out the tax rates for energy manufacturing and advanced manufacturing in general, because we need to put America back on the path of manufacturing, not to give that away, but we should be concentrating on recapturing. I think, just to drive this point home, the idea, if we look at the American know-how, the American labor market, our ability to manufacture